this thing working? I don't know. I was just looking for the woman that knows she just needs to give herself 3 months. 3 months of waking up earlier. 3 months of going to the gym. 3 months of focusing on herself and her goals to literally change her life, potentially for the rest of her life. The woman that needs to stop procrastinating and stop waiting. The woman that only has to stick to the schedule and stick to the plan. That is who this video is for. So if I found you, this video is for you. In this video, I'm breaking down how not only to pick goals for the next 90 days that are specific for you, but also how to break those goals down. So you're not making random hoopla goals, but you're making goals designed to help you become the woman that we both know your potential has to be. Now, here's the entire map I'm going to be working through in the video that will help break down every single step to you so you can figure out what specific goals are for you. So let's get started. Now, the first step, we are going to start here, and we are going to start with 3 different prototypes. I want you to think of these prototypes as if they are experiments, because that's essentially what I want you to think about when you are first creating your goals. You possibly already had some goals that you thought in your head. In 90 days, I want to look like this. In 90 days, I want to have this amount of money. I want to do all these different things. But before you pick those goals, I want you to consciously acknowledge that there are other things you can do and you're not choosing them. In the previous video, which you should have watched the first video, I said a big reason why people are stuck is because subconsciously, you know, there's different ways that you can get your body together. There's different ways you can make money. There's even different relationships that you could be in, contrary to the one that you're in. But consciously, you act as if you are a rock. You act as if you are stuck. You tell yourself, oh, well, you know, I can't change my body because this and that. Oh, well, you know, if I leave my relationship, what's going to happen? Because even though subconsciously, you know, you have other options. So with here, I'm going to force you to acknowledge not only that you have other options, but also pick which one you want. So first, prototype A, we are going to focus on achievement. Prototype B, we're going to focus on balance. And prototype C, we're going to focus on curiosity. Now, with these goals as well, I want you to understand in these 90 days, I want you to create an identity. I don't want you to just say, oh, I'm going to the gym. No, I want you to say, I'm healthy. I take care of my body. I don't want you to just say, oh, I'm making, you know, more money. I'm making money doing this. I'm making money doing something I enjoy. So with that being said, with your goals, instead of focusing on what you want to get out, for this, I want you to focus on your inputs. What are you putting in? What does it actually look like for you to become the kind of person that gets the lifestyle that you want? You're not going to get the body if you're not doing the things to get the body. You're not going to make the money if you're not doing the things to make the money. So first, let's focus on achievement, right? What does that look like? This is you focusing heavy on a specific area. And the areas we're focusing on, like I said, are health and body, money and work, personal and relationships, creative/expression. So what would that look like? And we're not going to do one for every single one just for time reasons, but let's say achievement, health and body. What does that look like? 5 times a week gym. That is very rigorous. Let's say money and work. All right. 10K a month, right? These are like heavy things that you're really gonna have to focus on. So that's when we say achievement. And if we're being completely honest, a lot of people probably are more so on the achievement route. You told yourself, oh, in 90 days, I want to do this, I want to do that. What does balance look like? So balance actually looks like, I think, a mixture between peace and essentially achievement. So 5 times a week, right? If we still do these categories, you would say 2 times or 2 to 3 gym. Money and work, you would say extra, say a plus $500 a month. Let's say personal relationships. We're just going to name off random ones. Weekly, like I said, I'm sorry. Weekly dinner with family. All right, let's say you don't see your family a lot. Now, we're not going to do creative expression, but I'm just going to give examples just so it's not taking too long. But health and body for creative expression might be something such as you say, I want to try 2 times a month a new kind of workout. So let's say cycling, let's say you join a running or whatever, new kind of workout. Money. Let's say you're thinking about, maybe there's a skill that you think about acquiring, or maybe a trade that you were looking into, and that may look like you spending 3 hours a week. That's probably a little bit, but you get the gist of it. Curiosity is really supposed to be the things that you're curious about and you think about do them, but sometimes you just feel like I'm too old to do that, or I should have did that before, or that's going to take too much time. Those are the curiosity areas. Literally, you just trying to find yourself during this time period. You want these 90 days to be about finding who I am, finding what I want to do, just simply things that I'm curious about. Now, next, this is going to go into something called the candidate goals. So from these goals, you are going to pick. I want you to understand, you do not have to pick a specific prototype and then go with everything in that prototype. This is essentially for you to understand where your goal is coming from. This goal derived from me wanting balance. This goal derived from me having curiosity. This goal derived from me wanting some kind of achievement in my life for the first time in a while. Whatever the case may be. So then you put down candidate goals, and they could be from different areas. So maybe you do say 5 times a week, the gym, let's say 6 hours a week with the skill. And then you can't even still say 10K a month, right? And you could do as many as you want. But it should not be every single one from every single category. That's the whole idea behind this. So the whole idea is you start with a lot and it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Next, we're going to go from the candidate goals to clarifying the experience that you want to have. Now here, this is probably what you came to the video thinking it was going to start as. What is the outcome that you want? So from going to the gym 5 times a week, you may say, I want to lose 50 pounds. I don't know. I'm just thinking of something random. Let's say 6 hours a week on a scale. After the 90 days, I want to, I don't know, entry level job or whatever the case may be, right? Whatever, 10K a month, the outcome, if you do the math, 30K. Next, we're going to talk about what are the weekly steps. So just come up with about 2 to 3. We don't want too much. An idea of what are the weekly steps required for you to actually get that outcome. So if you say you want to lose 50 pounds, do that by going to the gym 5 times a week. We know you got to go to the gym 5 times a week. What does this actually look like for you? So this may look like you saying, dang, I'm going to have to start meal prepping, right? Like, I got to start meal prepping. I got to start, doing this or doing that. Let's say you say, I want to do the entry level job. I want to do the 6 hours a week on a skill. It's too loud in my house. I can't focus. I'm going to have to start going to Barnes and Nobles. All right. You guys get what I'm trying to say. Nonetheless, figure out 2 to 3 weekly steps required. Now, and that was whole to give you an idea of like, what is it going to look like when you're actually doing that thing? Next, I want you to think about what is the feeling that you want to get from that thing. And I want you to go deep. I don't just want you to say, oh, I want to be happy. And oh, I want to be, what is the feeling that you want? Like some people may say, I'm learning a skill because I want stability. My job, sometimes I don't know if I'm going or coming. I can't support my lifestyle. There's that. Maybe some people want to lose 50 pounds. I want confidence. I've never felt confident in my body. And for the first time, I want to commit to something so I can wear clothes and feel confident. But don't necessarily try to say like, oh, happy, oh, excited. Like really think about, like tap into your feelings. It should be something where, for example, if a group of 10 people were to say they want the same outcome, y'all all wouldn't have the same feeling. So think about it like that. And then the last step, is this realistic? The outcome that you want, the weekly steps. But also when I say, is this realistic? That's 2 to 3 steps minimum we already came up with. As I said, the goal should have getting smaller and smaller. Is this realistic? If you already here and you still got 7 different goals that you want to do and you like, oh, well, I'm gonna have to go to the gym. I'm gonna have to meal prep. I'm gonna have to go to Barnes and Nobles. I'm gonna have to spend 10 hours a week, looking up a skill. I'm gonna have to, is it realistic? And that's when you start crossing stuff off. This isn't realistic. This isn't realistic. This isn't realistic, because all of it isn't. The idea getting here is I want you to understand sometimes certain things have to go. You have to prioritize certain goals, and you have to realize this. Like, I think a lot of times when we make goals, they sound good. Going to the gym 5 times a week, studying and going to school, going to work, trying to make 10K a month, it sounds good to achieve if you want the outcome. But we have to sometimes be honest with ourselves, even before we set ourselves up for failure, and say, was that even realistic in the beginning? Because a lot of people goals weren't. You were trying to do 50 million different things. You still only got 24 hours. Your time has not changed. How you use your time is going to change, but your time has not changed. And so the next step is, this is going to have us turn to the sacrifice test. So by this point, your goals should have gotten even smaller. Hopefully there's some that you crossed out. And by this point, you need to be honest with yourself about what are you willing to sacrifice. This is another big one, going off being realistic. A lot of people aren't able to really, or not even able, they don't acknowledge you're going to have to sacrifice certain things, and not just acknowledge you're going to have to sacrifice. What are you going to have to sacrifice? And so from those goals, also going off the weekly steps, think about these categories: relationships, time, energy, money, lifestyle. Like, if you say, I want to make 10K a month, and that could be doing different things, right? Maybe that can be you focusing on a skill or something like that you already have, and just honing in on it. Maybe that can be you doing DoorDash every single week, Amazon Flex, Prime, all these other things. What is that sacrificing? Dang, I'm not going to have that much time because I'm going to have to be doing this. I'm really not going to have that much energy because I'm going to be driving around all the time. My lifestyle might have to change too. I can't always eat out. Think about, for all of these things, that might sacrifice some of my relationships because I can't spend that much time with people. Going into another goal, you say your goal is to, and you could think about this in a way of outcome, or you could think about this in a way of the candidate goals. I recommend doing candidate goals, but you also can think about this going to the gym 5 times a week. That might not affect your relationships. It may or may not, depending on what you and your people in your relationships do, but that might affect your time, because now you have to start figuring out, okay, what time am I going to the gym? Okay, what comes with that? Like I said, one of the things is meal prepping. That's another thing. Your energy. Oh, that's definitely going to be. And then money. It might not be that much of a change. Well, actually, yeah, man, you got to pay for gym fees. Then if you got to eat different, that might up your grocery, money up $100 every single visit, lifestyle change. Be aware. And also ask yourself, are these sacrifices short-term or long-term? Now, they actually can be both, but not all of them are. So for example, if you say, I want to make 10K a month, that's short-term as far as the sacrifices, right? As far as you having to save a whole bunch of money, not go out to eat, that's short-term. Going to the gym 5 times a week, maybe if it's for a specific goal to lose 50 pounds, it is short-term, but it's going to be long-term if you're going to have to keep up that lifestyle. So you're going to have to keep up the health. Maybe somebody say, I want to get a new car. That's short-term. That's just something where it's like, don't get me wrong, long-term, you're going to have to keep up maintenance or whatever, but certain things are short-term and long-term. And the reason why I also want you to acknowledge this is because so many people sometimes achieve goals and then it's like, what else? It doesn't feel like anything. And it's because you never acknowledged, first and foremost, that was a short-term feeling. Yeah, you were supposed to feel good, celebrate, but that wasn't supposed to hold you for the rest of your year as far as achievements. Another thing, long-term, a lot of people achieve the goals of losing the weight, and a lot of people gain it back because all they were so focused on was the short term, achieving the goal. They never even thought about it being long term. And we think about long term, there's some long term sacrifices you're going to have. Like there's a certain lifestyle if you want to keep within a weight class that you're going to have to keep. I always tell people do the 80-20 rule, but also with that, for a lot of people, that may mean taking out completely different categories that you used to eat that you can't eat no more. Are you willing to do that long term? And you just have to be honest with yourself about that. Now, next, this goes into something called the rapid exercise. So the rapid exercise is actually when I want you to get an understanding of what kind of going back to the feeling part, what feeling do you want to get from this? But actually, what feeling is it going to give to you? Because you've already said the feeling that you want, but let's see if it adds up with more than likely the feeling it's going to give to you. So you're going to rate your goal on dopamine levels, 1 through 5, and peace, 1 through 5. If you're not familiar with dopamine, it is essentially the reward chemical in your brain. And dopamine is how a lot of people become addicted to things, because they get addicted to that dopamine feeling. That's why people are addicted to their phones and so many different things, because they're constantly getting dopamine. Like, that's what your brain is craving, that dopamine. Dopamine, when it comes to goals, can look like that hit, like that, I did it. It can look like external validation, sometimes people saying that you did it, or just being able to cross that thing off the list. What does peace look like? Peace looks like stability. Peace more to, honestly, if you think about it, think of dopamine as short term, think of peace as long term, to make it easier. Peace is something, this thing is going to give me stability. This thing is going to be long lasting. Like, yes, it might start off in the beginning, 90 days, I have to achieve something, or I'm going to start something, but this is going to be a foundation for something long term. And rate each goal 1 through 5 for both. Don't just pick one. So for example, let's talk about the 6-hour skill, right? Dopamine level. What kind of dopamine are you going to get from this? You might get a 2. You're probably not going to get that much dopamine 6 hours a week focusing on the skill, because it's like, it's not that exciting. But then what peace are you going to get from that? That can give you a 4 or even a 5 for some people, because once I get that skill is going to set me up for the stability necessary for me to possibly get a new job or to get out of my living situation or whatever the case may be. Let's talk about the 10K a month. And I know that was like a crazy number. Maybe we could say extra 1K a month. I don't know. Reach for the stars, if you will. What dopamine level is that going to give me? Now, we could think about achieving it, or we could think about doing it. Now, essentially, what dopamine level is that going to give me? It might honestly give you a 3, right? Like the going and the constantly getting up. Peace, what is that going to give you? If we're thinking about long term, or we're thinking about in the moment. But for peace, that honestly might give you a, if we're thinking long term, I would say, honestly, no, I would say like a 2. And the reason why I say that is this something that you have to keep up with? If you have to consistently keep doing DoorDash and keep doing, Amazon Flex and keep doing all this extra stuff to keep up, you're not going to have peace long term. Short term, you might have a little bit of peace. It might be a 3 or 4, right? Oh, I could pay for this, or I could pay for that. Long term, are you going to be able to do that thing? And so on and so forth. But the idea behind this is for you to get an understanding of, while you're doing this thing, kind of what to expect, give or take, but then also to be honest with yourself. So many people do like the 6-hour skill and they're like, oh, this is boring. Oh my gosh, this is so boring. I don't want to do this. You're doing it to get the peace long term. So many people get the 1K a month, right? They might get a 3 or 4 in dopamine. Ooh, I could pay for this. Ooh, I could pay for that. But they don't acknowledge, yeah, but then after 3-4 months of doing this, you're going to be tired. And maybe some people could do it longer. But can you do that for 12 months? Can you do that for 2 years of all your free time, sacrificing it to make an extra $1,000 a month? If you're willing to do that, but I just don't see that as being something peaceful. Now, hopefully by this time you've gotten even smaller on your goals. So now I want you to examine your goals. You've already did the rapid test. You know how much dopamine peace you're getting from it. You know the sacrifices necessary. You know the outcome you want and what that's going to be like for you if it's realistic. You've done all this. Another disclaimer here, though, also, I don't want some people saying, oh, since it's too high on dopamine and it's low on peace, I shouldn't do it. No, maybe that's what you want right now. Like even getting a new car, right? For example, a car can be, and I think this example will be good. A car, depending on what kind of car you want and what kind of car you get, can actually be a difference in dopamine and peace. Because let's say you don't need a new car and you're like, I just want to get a new car just to get one, just in these 90 days. I feel like getting a new car would be good. That will give you probably a 5 in dopamine to be able to, oh, I got a new car. But then if you got a car that you barely could afford, that might give you a 2 in peace. Now you got to keep up with this car. Now, let's say you got a car because you really, really needed a car. Like your car was messed up, But instead of getting a car you could barely afford, you got a car that you can afford. You got a car that's within your budget. And you also got a car, hypothetically thinking, obviously you wouldn't want this to happen, but if the dealer was like, oh man, it's like $500 more, you can afford it. I say all that to say, think about it like that. Like for whatever reason, if taxes or whatever came out, if it will make you be like, I can't get this car, you can't afford it. Now, if you could afford it, this probably would give you dopamine, maybe even a 4 though. It might give you a 4 because you're like, you know what? I'm so happy I have a car. But it'll also give you a 4 for peace. It might even give you a 5 for peace, depending on what you was going through. And so I want you to understand this as well, as not looking at it as being good or bad, because I know that's how some people are going to look at it, but just asking yourself, is this going to give me a quick hit? And is this hit going to be something that's sustainable, or is this just a quick hit for right now? And then sometimes it makes you think, do I only want to do this goal for 90 days or do I want to continue it? Now, after you've done all this, we are going to go into one of the last steps called the anchors. Now, I know you're probably going to be like, anchors, that like a bullseye. It do. But this makes a lot more sense. So the reason why I say the anchor is kind of like what is holding you down. So I want you to understand this is 90 days. This is not a year. This is not 6 months. This is 3 months. First and foremost, I want you to figure out what is the main goal. What is the main one that you want to focus on? And the reason why you need to do it like this is going to be so important to making sure that you know the order of the goals, because your goals should have orders as well. Not everything is as important as everything else. What is the main goal that you want? Maybe hypothetically thinking your main goal is 10K a month. I know I switched it to 1 to 10. Let's just shoot for the stars. 10K a month. However you're getting that 10K, focusing on that 10K, the sacrifice necessary for that 10K is your main focus. If anything at all, it doesn't even matter if it's another goal, gets in between that 10K, it has to be X'd out. What is the next one? The next one is, what is the 2 supporting goals holding down that anchor goal? So maybe the 2 supporting goals, maybe you pick the gym 3 times a week. If the gym, for whatever reason, because life happens, it could be a natural disaster, it could be a birthday party, whatever happened. If for any reason you wake up in the morning, you're like, dang, should I do this thing? I don't know if it's door dashing, a skill, whatever the case may be, that's going to help me get to my 10K goal. Or should I do the gym? Dang, should I try to figure out the time, push things? Always pick your main goal. The second supporting goal is secondary. If you have time, you focus on this and the sacrifices necessary for this. You never sacrifice anything for your main goal. This is what you said 90 days you are going to achieve, and you've already figured out the necessary steps and necessary sacrifices to achieve it. Then the third one is your last supporting goal. And this one can be, let's say, what do we say here? I don't know. Let's just come up with a random one. Hobby. I don't know. Maybe you're like, I want to get to know myself better and I want to do a new hobby 2 times a week, right? It's the same thing. If the hobby ever gets in between the gym, it's X'd out. The whole idea behind this is that these are the 3 major goals that you are going to accomplish in 90 days. I know a lot of people hear that and they're like, but I thought of 10 goals and I thought of going back to the realistic, going back to the sacrifices. Look at what you're going to have to sacrifice even for these 3 goals, the time, the money, the energy, even for these 3 goals. Every goal is going to need at least about 3 steps a week added to your schedule. That's 3 times 3. That's 9 extra steps. You probably right now feel like you don't even have time in your day. So imagine trying to add another one. That could be up to 12 new steps. Stick with these 3. The whole idea behind it is that eventually you're going to build upon these things. Eventually you're going to do more, but let these 90 days help support you. So when the new year comes, you already have 3 solid foundations that can help you. The 10K possibly can help you get an apartment. Also think about, what does that mean for you? Because these can mean different things. Maybe you're like, I need the 10K a month because that's going to help me get an apartment. That apartment is going to help me get a car. These things can help other things. I want to start going to the gym. Well, I want to start going to the gym because I want to stay healthy. And then also my birthday's going to come up and I want to have my birthday. These things also should be helping other things as well. But you need to figure out, and sometimes too, picking your main one. Sometimes what I did is to ask yourself which goal is going to help other goals in your life be different. So maybe with that 10K, you're like, I can move, I can get a new car, I can open up a savings. This is the most important thing to me right now. Or maybe you're like, you know what? Just the way I'm living my life, I'm not confident, I'm not this, I'm not that. I'd rather do the gym. I want to go to the gym 4 times a week. I want to get my body together because I just realized in life I'm not confident. And I feel like I don't show up confidently because I don't love myself. So for these next 90 days, I'm going to love myself. And then when the new year start, I'm already loving myself. That's when I'm going to focus on making a 10K. And so it's really to each its own. But I want you to understand you need a main goal. You need a main goal and 2 supporting goals, but never let them get in between each other. And they should have a hierarchy. There should be a 1, 2, or 3. If you just let random goals come about, they're going to intertwine with each other. They're going to mix each other. And eventually you're going to X out one for the other. You're going to feel bad about it. Oh, I couldn't go to the gym today because I focus on this. I'm a bad person. Oh, I couldn't. And then you're going to cut them all out. So this is why you need to do this. And the final one is a little bit optional, but this definitely will be in the worksheet as well. Of course, you guys know for this series, every single video has a worksheet and this one will be as well. And so I want to explain this to you because I know this probably looks a little crazy. Now, if you have been watching the videos in the series and you watched the intro video, if you haven't already, please, please, please watch it because it makes this video make a lot more sense. But I want you to, already said, create a essential journal entry 4 years from now. And honestly, you could change it because now that you changed your goals, possibly you want to change that journal entry or you keep it the same, but you should have a journal entry of what does your life look like? How much money you're making? Where do you work? Essentially your ideal life for yourself, because that's what these goals are supposed to support. Now, a big thing I want you to do with your goals. I think sometimes people quit on their goals because they don't see the necessity for them. And they also don't understand the realism of them. Like, what is your life going to look like if you don't do this thing? It's all a choice. You choose to do any of these things. But I also want you to know what your life going to look like if you don't choose. Because like I said, so many people have a fantasy life, a dream life of what they want to do. And it feels amazing because it's a dream. And so for a lot of people, I want to burst that bubble for you. I want you to see in black and white writing that your life is not going to look anything like how you think it's going to look if you don't do the necessary steps. And I don't want you to say, oh, I know I need to make more money. No, I want you to exactly see what your life is going to look like. So here, this is something called a reality check template. And this template will be in the worksheet. And the worksheet, you can get that in the comment section below. And if you're this far, please follow me because the last video, like 75% of y'all didn't follow me. So please follow me now. But anyways, in ChatGPT, I told you it's going to be a template. You're basically going to say, and this is where you are now. I make blank amount of money a month. I live where? With yourself, a roommate, a parent. And if you do live somewhere, you also could put how much you pay in rent. I work at blank doing blank. Where do you work? What do you do? My health routines are, do you have any health routines? My creative output is, and a lot of people don't think about creative output, but this is imperative because going back to what I said in the beginning, there's a correlation between creative and self-expression. And I think a lot of people don't know their goals because they don't have any creative outputs. They don't have anything that they can say, this is me, and this is what I like, and this is what I do. And so if you don't have any, that does change things as well. And I think you should look into having some, such as hobbies and, things as such. And then end it with, if I keep this up, will I be able to achieve my dream life in 4 years? Be brutally honest. And there's another added section that I do have in the template that basically says, and it's another option. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but in 4 years, do you see my career industry increasing, declining, or completely dismantling? Because I think that's another thing as well. I think there are some individuals that make a decent amount of money and they may live somewhere decently, they can afford it, but we're having a big shift happen. And I'm not trying to get into it too much because I know what the video is about setting goals. But a lot of people, I think, are not realizing the power of AI, the power of this technology. Like, look at the grocery stores, look at going out. I literally saw a guy post a video of a security guard robot at his apartment complex. A lot of jobs, especially manual jobs, are going to be gone. And so I think that's another thing too. When you're planning your dream life, you need to find out, is this even going to be a possibility of a life in the next 3 to 4 years? They had the whole thing at the docks, was it earlier this year or last year, with dock workers protesting. You know, a big reason why they were? Because they're using robots to literally take off these dock workers' jobs, and they're firing them by the hundreds. Hundreds of people are being notified out of the blue, you don't have a job. And they've been doing this for 10, 20, 30 years. You need to be aware of that. And so I know I started going on a tangent at the end. Sorry about that. But this is the board again. Like I said before, there will be a worksheet available that you can fill in everything if you go below. And that's also how you can sign up for the 90-day newsletter. As I said before, the whole idea behind this is that I want us to start our 90 days September 25th. So it is going to end December 24th. This is the preseason. I'm having you plan out your goals. Every single week, I'm creating videos, helping you create weekly routines, helping you figure out things that's going to hold you back, helping you figure out how to reset if anything happens. I want these 90 days to be some of the best 90 days of your life. I want these 90 days for you to look back and be like, I really needed that. But I also need you to prepare. And that is why we are starting the preseason now. I know everybody started their great lock-in September 1st. Don't worry about them people. Let them do what they wanted to do. You're picking your goals for you. You're figuring out your structure. You're every single week checking in with your worksheet. So once it starts, you've already experimented. You've already tried things and you already know what you want to do with your life. So thank y'all so much. Please go into the show notes below to sign up for my newsletter. I have my TikTok there, everything like that. Please, please, please make sure that you follow me. Like I said, a lot of people did not follow me from the previous video. But thank y'all regardless for the support. And if you are doing the challenge, please comment 90. Comment 90 so people could see other people are doing it. Comment 90 so you commit to yourself and tell yourself this is what I'm doing and I'm serious. And just comment 90 if you feel like you want to support me. Thank y'all so much. But thank you guys. I'm trying to think. Oh, also, I know I have not had my advice emails in a while as far as having like the lives. I will have one next week. So not today, this video is coming out on a Wednesday, not today, September 3rd, but I will have it the following week. Please, please, please email things to my advice email. As far as anything personal that you're going through, is completely anonymous. But if you want specific advice that can help you, please do that as well. And like I said, the next one will be September. I'm not the best, but yeah, it will be next Wednesday. So thank y'all so much. I think what, September 11th or something like that? Yeah, something like that. But thank you guys so much for the support. Please, please, please keep up. And there's a playlist. So if you're like, did I miss the video? I don't know what video she's talking about. I literally have an entire playlist for this whole series. So we are going to become unrecognizable in 90 days. And thank y'all so much for following the Great Lock-In 90.